Greetings and salutations, Vol fans all across the wide and wonderful internet. Michael Shibley with you here for another recap, this time of Tennessee's 62-24 victory over the Missouri Tigers that happened over the weekend. My goodness, that escalated quickly. Tyon Evans was right. They were going to have some fun as Tennessee just racked up so many yards. I mean, they had 683 yards of total offense. And then when you check the team scores, I've got all of my notes right over here. They rushed for, my goodness, 458 rushing yards. It was just amazing to see what Tennessee was able to do in this game. I knew that Missouri had kind of a weak run defense. I think they were averaging 270 yards per game, what their defense was giving up. I did not think that Tennessee was going to have the type of day that they had. They felt like they could almost run at will against Missouri. And as we've noticed as of this recording, I think Missouri, I think their head coach, Drinkwitz, just fired their defensive line coach. I guess someone had to take the fall for what happened there. But my goodness, that was fun. It's the most enjoyable Tennessee game I think I've had overall watching it since we beat Missouri last year. And then, of course, everything went downhill after that. But my goodness, it was fun. Some other things I think we learned from this game is Hendon Hooker right now is going to be your number one QB. I think that's where you're going. Yes, I still think with Milton, the upside, if he can just get some things down pat, if he can dial in those deep balls, I think the idea of Milton over the long term, I think is better. I think he has far more room to grow. But Hendon Hooker seems to have control of this offense. He's got control of the scheme right now. He's such a threat to run the ball. I worry maybe a little bit if we get into a situation where Hooker is going to have to just do nothing but throw the ball instead of doing stuff with his legs. But my goodness, he was in control. He had a really good game. 15-19, 225 yards, 3 touchdowns. And most of the passes that he missed on hit the wide receivers in the hands. They should have had it. So I feel really good about where Tennessee is. I know I talked about this a little bit after the Florida game where I felt like I can work with this. Now I see the results. It's one of those things where if you had a time machine, you wonder if you go back and see if Tennessee could replay the Pitt game, but that's not how this works. You just always forward, as we see. One of the things, too, that I don't think a lot of people have done so far out there is give credit to Tennessee's defense. I thought they did a great job. Of course, Bazelak got 322 yards, but he's a really good quarterback. He was going to get his numbers, and a lot of that, I think, was in garbage time as well. But I think the big thing that Tennessee did was Tyler Beatty, their running back, who is one of only a handful of SEC running backs who have had both 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards, which he went over in this game. So hats off to him on that. But Tennessee bottled him up. 21 carries for 41 yards. The longest he had was 15. So Tennessee just did, I think, a phenomenal job. Then you go back to their banged-up offensive line. You didn't have Cooper Mays in this game at all, but Tennessee was able to go out there and just exert their will at the line of scrimmage, which, again, that was Philip Fulmer football right there. You exert your will at the line of scrimmage, both on the offensive line and the defensive line. Tennessee was able to do that. So my credit to all of them. And one of the big things, too, you look at, Paxton Brooks didn't have to punt. We had no punts in this game. Tennessee had a touchdown on their first 6 drives. I think we would have had a couple more if the referees knew what it meant when a ball crossed the goal line. I think Evans had a touchdown. I was ready to give him the Al Bundy on my Twitch stream with 4 touchdowns in one game. And then I think he had one later in the game, too, where I was very sure he crossed the goal line, and then the refs did review it, and it said he didn't. I have to question that one severely. I did not think the officiating crew did a great job overall. I think some of the holding penalties, especially a horse collar tackle that Mizzou had where he grabbed the back of his jersey and just kind of pulled on it. I mean, I'm not going to call that horse collar. I'm happy for once one of those calls went for Tennessee's favor. I'm not going to lie. But, I mean, Missouri had, I think, 9 penalties for 96 yards. Tennessee very clean. I think 2 penalties for 20 yards. So you have a banged-up offensive line. Evans was your big carrier because Small was out. I think he carried the ball only 3 times for 38 yards. But that was it. But Evans, my goodness, that 92-yard run, that was so much fun to watch. I'm glad he didn't get caught from behind. He did. He was right. He said they're going to have some fun, and they did. So I'm really happy where Tennessee is coming off a big SEC win here for the Vols. And, of course, a bonus. Unfortunately, Tennessee wasn't able to do it last week, but Kentucky beat Florida, which always makes me happy anytime you see Florida lose. So I feel really good in the direction going forward right now with Tennessee. You look at the schedule, they have a very winnable game next week at home against South Carolina, which will get you to 4 wins, and then you have a Vanderbilt and a South Alabama game in November. Those 2 games, that gets you to 6 if you beat South Carolina. So we'll see where this all ends up. Of course, we still have Georgia, Ole Miss, and Alabama left. We'll see where Ole Miss's psyche's at after the beatdown they got against Alabama. But I still feel really good, and who knows what that Kentucky game is going to be like. It's at Kentucky, and they just beat Florida. So we'll see. But I still feel right now confident. I had said at the beginning of the year Tennessee was going to go 6-6. They're in really good shape for that right now. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this one. And of course, subscribe if you like it. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the videos. And of course, you can check me out on Twitter, Michael_Shibley. And of course, I'm going to be doing watch-alongs on my Twitch stream, which is also Shibbles and Bits. So check us out over there if you want to watch. Of course, we're going to have the South Carolina game. The Twitch stream is going to start around 11:45 Eastern. So thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, pound the subscribe button, whatever you need to do for all of that. But too sweet, go Vols, see you next time.